Welcome to the Built for Growth podcast. Today we are doing this a little bit different. I am not in my traditional studio in Las Vegas. I am here near Austin, Texas. And actually, you know what? I had never been to Austin before December of 2023. I fought at the Moody Center with Tarzukian and Dariush, I think, that fought each other in the main event. And I had never been here. What a gem. I had a great night. I won.
Yep.
And then I went to Terry
That's
Black's.
why you like Austin. Yep.
And it was so good. It was great. Yes, fond memories. So now I'm always looking for a reason to come back here. But here we are. And I wanted to introduce you. My guest today is JP Sears, and also say thank you for opening up your home. You have a lovely place
absolutely.
here.
Thank
and
you.
I met your lovely wife who's got one, ready. Like the buzzer could go off like right now.
Yeah, I might get a text from Mallory saying, come downstairs. It's happening. But yeah, we're very excited to welcome I've got a child from a previous marriage, but it'll be our first child together. And to me, I mean, you've got kids. There is nothing more sacred in life than having children and raising them with love. So we're very excited and feel very blessed.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And we're doing a home birth, so it'll be very messy.
Okay.
We'll have to replace all our rugs. And
Right. Well, hopefully they'll put the stuff down for you.
We should
Your
do
wife
that.
told me that she was a doula. She's got it.
She does.
She's got it.
She'll take good care of me during the birth.
Yeah, she will. She'll take good care of you. That's the doula's job, right? Okay, hopefully she doesn't have to double duty. Do you guys have a doula?
We have so many people coming for the birth. 2 doulas, a midwife assistant.
Oh, there'll be plenty
both
of
of our
babysitters
moms.
for you then.
It'll literally be a party.
Is this your first home birth experience?
So with my previous relationship, my son was born via a home birth, and it was amazing. And obviously, you make plans, and if you need to transfer to a hospital, you got to do that, but everything went well. And the home birthing experience, having done that with my first, I was just sold. This is just such a beautiful way to do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. My first 2 births, I tried to do a home birth, the first one, and I think I had too much of the fighter mentality. I didn't know how to submit.
Yeah.
So I literally fought my whole birth experience, fought my body. Every time that a contraction would come, I would not. I was until I was totally just spent.
Yeah.
But I was at home, and every time I'd get a contraction, I was no, I was resisting it with everything that I had. Because it just got so painful at a point, and it was I was we were 62 hours into labor at home.
Yeah.
And I got really rough. I was puking, I couldn't hold anything down, I was getting dehydrated. So I went to the hospital, got that epidural, still was able to deliver. The baby didn't end up needing a cesarean, but it was a total change of plans.
Sure.
So you always got to be ready for it, and it was okay. And then my son, we ended up planning to go to the hospital and still have a natural birth, but then COVID hit, and we were in Singapore.
Oh, wow.
So we had him in Singapore, and then I ended up not making it to the hospital. So my story is that I can't plan a birth.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
Men and women plan, and God laughs, and
Yeah.
you just kind of got to abide by what the higher plan is sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've looked into your background a little bit, and I knew that you're a comedian. I know that you like to keep a kind of a humorous pulse on the political vibe. I know you're a dad. I know you're a fitness enthusiast, but I didn't know that you were a life coach.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I was, started off my, call it career, out of high school, went to college for 3 months, dropped out of college because I knew, that's not for me. But then got into health coaching, personal training, nutrition coaching, got hooked up with an awesome educational facility called the Czech Institute out in California. Really amazing holistic approach. And then part of that is cool, you help manage people's stress reduction, because the higher your stress hormones are, the worse your metabolism's going to be. You're just in a fat storing, muscle burning, hormonal state. So really looking at people holistically, and just as the years went on, I was just more and more intrigued at working with people more at the inner level, their psychology, rather than just the physical personal training. So my career really took a life coaching slant for, the last probably 7 years of my 13-year career before comedy accidentally became what I was doing. So But yeah, I learned so much about myself. And of course, doing life coaching, you're doing your own work, but then also getting invited to work in really heartfelt spaces with people. I learned so much, and looking back on that, not only was it rewarding just for the experiences, but it taught me so much about human nature that I absolutely still draw on to this day when I'm doing comedy, which is primarily my comedy is calling out egotistical nature. Lies, hypocrisy, corruption, deception, manipulation, the need for significance in camouflaged ways. That's principally what I'm using satire to call out, but I draw on so much of what I learned in became my training to become a comedian as a life coach.
That's so interesting, the synergy of that. I just wouldn't put those together as like the pieces that might complete like a comedic.
Yeah, neither would anybody else. It's like, it's not like a cut and like, here's how you do it. That's not the path. But it was my unique path.
Have you always been a funny guy?
Narcissistically, I have always been funny, Miesha. Yes. But yeah, as a kid, sense of humor was always a big part of my personality. I was always the one making my friends and family laugh, or in school, making the class laugh, or trying to make the teacher laugh, which was always the biggest challenge. Because if you don't get a laugh out of the teacher, you get in trouble for being disruptive. But I found, there's a formula. If I can actually be disruptive in a way that makes the teacher laugh, I don't get in trouble. So it's always been, on the Mount Rushmore of my personality traits.
Why do you think making people laugh has been something that has driven you?
Well, I think what drives it changes. As a kid, I wouldn't know this at the time. I was just like, making people laugh is fun. But looking back, I think as a kid, I was driven to make people laugh because it made me feel like I mattered. Okay. Like if I can get you laughing and smiling, that's basically giving me a dose of approval. Look, I brought a smile to your face. You like me, therefore I matter. So as a kid, like you realize, cool, I feel like I matter for about 1 minute, making someone laugh. Then you got to do it again. So you get a lot of repetitions. And, the need to be liked, the need for acceptance, I think that was all drivers. So essentially trying to escape pain of feeling like I don't matter, feeling like I'm insignificant, feeling like I don't belong. That's what drove me. And I think pain is the initial driver of maybe all comedians. But then there's an old saying, what drives you will destroy you. If you don't kind of have a new level of self-awareness about it. So you can look at comedians like Robin Williams, one of the funniest people on earth, yet his pain was so consuming. No matter how many tens of millions of people he made laugh, he couldn't escape his pain and ultimately, tragically, took his own life. So I don't want that to be my fate, where I'm just a drug addict needing to make people laugh. So now I'm sure some of that still drives me, but also on this scene is I like to be self-aware. So comedy helps me discover pieces of myself, helps me discover my own egotistical nature, and then there's also a component of like I want to help truly like better people's lives, and if I can use the language of comedy to get them to rethink their thinking, to maybe get them a little bit more in touch with their own heart, then that's a contribution that I do sincerely want to make to the world.
Yeah.
And I won't BS you and say that's like I'm a perfect human being, I just want to do good. Yeah, I do want to do good, but also it's like I still have an ego, and it feels good to feel significant to people.
Yeah, well, I think that might be the way that you've integrated sort of this life coach. You don't enter that kind of a career field unless you have a deep passion for getting people to think, right? And problem solve and help themselves ultimately, because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? You can try to give them all the tools, but if you can get them to have the thought themselves as opposed to, indoctrinate them or tell them how to feel. And that's what I like about your comedy is kind of that it's just, obviously it's funny and so it's enjoyable to watch, but you also go, like sometimes I'll like be like, I'll Google something afterwards because I'm like, I want to know more about this, or I'm very like, I don't know like what he's talking about. I mean, you were recently talking about the Epstein list and how like there is no Epstein list now. I was like, wait a minute, like I didn't even know. I was like, what's going on here? There was an Epstein list. Clearly there's an Epstein list, but like then they're saying there's not an Epstein list, and now it got me thinking about like where do I, how do I feel about the current pulse of the political situation, and it's confusing because I'll admit, I voted for Trump, not by any means because I think that he's a perfect person. I really tried not to vote for the person. I tried to vote for the policy of what he was saying he was going to do, and I was like, well, compared to the other side, it aligned with me at that time more, like food health, the anti-pesticide, what RFK was going to do, like. I wanted that change, and so that's what I voted for, and I never by any means think that Trump is like a great like he's not he's just not probably not somebody that I would just be like, let's sit down and like have lunch together on a regular basis but I was hoping he'd do a better job running the country, but it does kind of like rubs me the wrong way a little bit about, seeing things like that, or even like the drug trafficking stuff. Like I want the crackdown on that too, but it's very, interesting. Like why is he letting off, was it like is it Argentina? The guy he pardoned?
I don't know I don't remember I know who you're talking about, but pardoning a big drug trafficking dude or ex-president or something.
But then being so hard on the boats that are like potentially, drug. I mean, anyways, point in cases, I'm not 100% clear on like what is actually right and wrong, but your comedy does provoke me to think more deeply.
Yeah, and that's the goal. The goal of what I do, the primary goal isn't even to make people laugh. The primary goal is to get people to rethink their thinking, because when we have our beliefs and we believe our beliefs, our growth is stunted, and we can think of like
fixed mindset.
We could look at the idea of when you were in third grade, what if you just fixed your mindset then? Never grew, never learned. And now I'm 44. We'd say, well, that's ridiculous, but we do that. So I think when we can question our beliefs, it's great. And I always tell people, I've never claimed to know the truth on anything. I just claim to say what I think and hopefully make people think more, because we have this God-given thing called our mind and our heart. And when we use this God-given instrument, it absolutely trumps any specific beliefs that another person could indoctrinate us in, even if they're great beliefs.
Right.
Having brainwashing people with what is true still handicaps them because they're not using their God-given instruments. And I also kind of think it's a gift that Trump's doing weird things when it comes to the Epstein files. So essentially acting untrustworthy, because I think we're living in a time where we're constantly being urged to reclaim our power and stop outsourcing our power and our well-being to external authority. I think the way I looked at it, like the Biden administration, I didn't vote for Biden, but it was like, well, that's just tyranny. But then, Trump's reemergence was very strong, got him reelected. I voted for him, and I'm still glad he's in office. However, the danger of that is Trump fans were putting so much faith into Trump, outsourcing so much of their power. It's like, well, guys, the pendulum will just swing the other way. You've learned, cool, outsourcing to communists, not a good idea. But also outsourcing to someone who you truly think is amazing. It's great that they're amazing, but the outsourcing isn't a good idea. So I think we're actually blessed to have Trump doing some untrustworthy things, because he's someone a year ago, so many would have sworn like he's the answer. But I think we're living in an age of decentralization where people are needing to realize I'm the answer. I need to be responsible for my life, my happiness, and not Trump or any other politician or any other figures. So hopefully we're getting the message.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I don't believe that anybody is coming to save us.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think that anybody is going to just totally turn this ship in the correct direction. There's too much corruption on either side of the politics. It doesn't matter. Left or right, there's corruption. So what's the best thing to do is do what you can do, control what you can control, support who you believe and how you believe, and push them to through whatever means that you have to accomplish what you want,
and live your life according to your values. Like that's, and hopefully you have good values, but like we're the cells in the body of humanity, so we need to, basically borrowing Gandhi's phrase, we need to be the change we wish to see in the world. And when you have 300 million cells in the body of humanity, of America, doing that, like, cool, things are going to go in a good direction. But when you have 300 million cells being lazy, all looking at one single cell in the body of humanity and saying that one cell in the presidential seat, that cell's going to change everything. It's like, no, like we're all cells. Yeah,
collectively. No, that's such a good point. I really like that. You said moral value. Is it true you accidentally became a Christian?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean exactly?
Most good things. And I won't pretend to be a perfect Christian, nor would I say like I'm dogmatically like the prototypical Christian, but I've accidentally became way more Christian than I used to be.
Were you raised with a...
So I was raised like, I call it pretend Catholic. Like we went through the motions of First Communion.
I did First Communion too. Yeah. I was raised Catholic. Not the most staunch, but that's what we were.
Same. It was like not shoved down our throats, but it was there. And none of it ever felt meaningful to me when I was 7.
Yeah.
But then I got into like New Age spirituality when I was 19, and some really cool things to think about. Some of it was very beneficial, and then starting to learn and there's a lot of poop in this world as well. But then 2 things really got me reconnected to Christian values in a way where I'd say that makes a lot of sense to me now. One was COVID, and 2, these happened simultaneously, was becoming a father for the first time. And just the kind of evil being more obvious in the world than I've ever recognized, combined with being a father, one of the 2 most sacred duties in the world, father and mothering, that just cool Christian values that are actually lived and practiced, not just put on the facade of, they make a lot of sense to me now. I realize family is everything. Family is sacred, and so nothing fancy, but it's just this makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I kind of veered away from it a little bit because it felt too. I think being a Catholic as a kid it's rough because they don't meet you where, it doesn't feel like a lot of times they meet you where you're at. Yeah. It's like you come in and you are expected to be here, and you've got to know. It's also you've got to know all the little things, or you feel awkward. You you walk in and you got to dip your finger in the water, and you got to do this thing, and then you got to kneel before you get in the pew, and then you've got to do this, and it's so there's this. I don't know, it's just awkward. If you couldn't just walk in as a stranger off the street and feel comfortable in a Catholic church, usually because of those things, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb, and and it's just kind of such a ritual, as opposed to just what I like about being a Christian now is I truly feel like you could just walk into my church, and wherever you are at, Christ will meet you.
Yeah.
And I like that, and I think that is where I believe where we should aim to be as a culture, and as Christians, and as faith-believing people.
I agree, and just the idea of outsourcing our power to a politician, I don't think it serves many of us anymore to outsource our power to some establishment, church, corporation that's the middleman. Like, yeah, you can't have God or Jesus without us. It's like, I think we probably can, and you might actually be preventing it.
Yeah.
Not to mention, you can find some pretty horrendous corruption scandals and be like, well,
some of the worst in religion.
Yeah, whatever that is, I'm not a part of that, and I'm not outsourcing blind faith to you're good and true. And I wouldn't do that with any church. It's just like, I have to have my experience. If it feels good and true, I'll trust that until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
But there's a church here, just like you were describing. You go in and I feel a connection. Things feel meaningful. There's no, dogmatic rituals that just seem like a barrier of exclusion. You're not one of us, but you are if you do these things that you don't know why you're doing. So, I think we're living in an age of like, get the middlemen out of the way that just seemingly control power.
Yeah. I think homeschool has been a great thing, and it's turned around a lot of, I think, family free thinkers, people who don't just want to be force-fed something to regurgitate it. I have the biggest issue with public school in that sense is just doesn't promote free thinking. It's like, I'm going to tell you the facts. I'm going to tell you what to think, and then I want you to regurgitate it to me on a test, and that's going to tell me your value in society. I'm like, where's the real world? Like, where? You're doing that for 7 hours a day, and then kids go home and have an hour plus of homework if they're not doing sports. Like, where's the time for family? We've just kind of cut that out of the fabric, right? I mean, I think that's the most important thing.
I agree. And like the idea of rethinking all the systems that we have trusted, like the public school system as we know it, it was formed by the Rockefellers in the early 1900s in order to train factory workers. Like, cool, we're literally not wanting to teach you how to think. We're wanting to teach you how to memorize. We don't want competitors.
We want workers.
Absolutely, just workers that will do their duty. And it's like, does that serve us? What the intention of that was?
Serves someone,
right?
Not us.
Probably not us would be what most families would say. So, homeschooling has just seemingly spread like wildfire. I think since COVID, alternative schools, which I know you're in town. We're both taking part in Tim Kennedy's Apogee fundraiser, which is I love the idea of people taking the power back and literally being the change they wish to see in the world. Cool. I don't like that school system. Let me start one. Or enroll in one that makes sense to me and what I want for my family.
We're going to open one in Boise.
Are you really?
Move to Boise, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're going to move probably in the summertime. So
in Apogee School?
In Apogee.
So nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being the change that I want to see in the world. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, the kids, like you said, I know I was 7 and 5, and you got a 5 and 1 about on the way, but I mean, they are going to be the change. And I hope that I can just be a little bit of the catalyst to set the motion in, so that they have a little momentum going into this. But I want them to be free thinkers. I want them to question everything. That's just how we grow. It's how we gain our intelligence. Never be too heels in the ground about anything, but be willing to take new information and change your mind should it provide some kind of, change in your heart or change in something that you didn't know before. I think that's a sign of intelligence, and that's really all I want for my kids. And I want my kids also to be self-respecting individuals and respecting about other people. I want them to be able to look adults in the eye and shake their hand and talk to them and order their own food at a restaurant. And those are life skills for me, right? Yes. I mean, that's what real and socialization. I get that question a lot. Well, what about socialization? Like if you were going to keep your kids at home and just homeschool them, I was like, there is so much value in having strong parental connection. Yeah. So much more value than quote unquote socialization of other kids. That can come a little bit later in life. But knowing that they have a loving home that they can come and talk to you about anything that's going on in their life is paramount. I read this book, this is Save Our Children, by Dr. Gabor Mate, who's a trauma specialist. And it talks a ton about peer attachment versus parental attachment and how peer attachment happens naturally. Like if you could design a system to separate families and separate parental jurisdiction and not control, I won't say in a bad way, but I mean, you do kind of have to help your kids. You have to guide them. You want to instill in them the things that are important to you morally, and that is our job. A perfect system would be to take them away for 7+ hours a day and then send them home with another hour that's going to make you want to do this with your kids and clash heads because you've got to get homework done, and then sports, and then where else does the rest fit?
Yeah, and to your point, in that system, which seems like it's already designed, the attachment to one's peers, like, cool, peer approval means more than the approval of mom and dad, than the guidance of mom and dad.
Yeah.
Which then it's like,
very
cool,
dangerous.
Now you're not only having teachers who are coming from a philosophy you might not be aligned with, teachers raising your kids, but other kids raising your kids.
Which is never a good idea because they're not developed minds. They're crazy.
Yeah, it's literally the blind leading the blind. And you look at the statistics of, I know it's dropping now, but I think the peak was 2023 of how many kids were identifying as a made-up gender. And it was just like social approval. Like, oh, so-and-so did, look at all the attention they're getting, so I will too. And then you're getting all these kids saying, I'm non-binary or whatever, because they want that social approval.
Yep.
It's not out of like authentic guidance.
Correct. Yeah. And so I'm like, that's not the kind of socialization that I want. Now, I do think that there are situations where, I want to validate that there are some people out there who are clearly gay or, clearly feel like they're stuck in the wrong body. I empathize with that. But I do think that there is also that, sort of a trend where some kids are just looking to fit in somewhere because it's important for us as humans. We're designed to fit in somewhere.
Yeah. And
if that helps us feel validated or like we fit in or that we matter, for you, comedy, like you want it to matter in some way. Sometimes this is the way that kids can get, they feel like they matter. Yeah. And so that's where I just don't want it to be confusing. I mean, you can convince kids of Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, right? I mean, they're very malleable and very impressionable. And if this is the trendy, cool thing to do, then there's a very valid chance that a lot of kids that are not truly wouldn't be that way otherwise if it wasn't for the influence of the social construct around them.
The social engineering of it is fascinating. That's what's, caused the numbers to shoot up. And now I think the numbers are like 66% less than they were in 2023. But it's like the real concern is kids convincing themselves I'm something that I'm not in order to fit in. It's like, well, but then you're not fitting in with yourself.
Yeah. What was I going to say about that? There's one other thing that I do think could be contributing to kids actually, like really genuinely, or not just even kids, but people feeling like they're in the wrong body. And this is a hypothesis of mine, but I think it makes sense. Do you know what atrazine is?
It's an ingredient in...
It's a pesticide or herbicide.
Yeah,
it's an ingredient in a lot of our food.
It's
atrazine, yes,
it's one of the food groups,
Yeah,
Miesha.
it is at this point. But there was a study, I forget the scientist, but he studied atrazine on frogs and was able to make the male frogs more female and or gay, and there was just a lot of concern about this being in our food sources. So let's just hypothetically say if this study has shown that they can have gender has the right terminology for this, like swapping or lessening or changing through a chemical atrazine, and it's a herbicide or pesticide that's sprayed on our foods, and then mothers are eating this with little tiny embryos developing for the first time. Is there even a chance that this could change their brain or their physiology in a way that is very physical? It's not just a social, like, hey, I want to fit in, and then there's that on top of it.
Yeah, it like what if multiple things, but yeah, to me the atrazine, like how it's changed the orientation of frogs, like that's very alarming. And realizing, hey, that's not
how much
just
is sprayed on our food annually.
Yeah, it's not just sprayed on
70 million pounds.
70, yeah. be one thing if it's just sprayed on frog food, but the problem is that
and
it's
it's getting in our water
food.
system. And we would talk a lot about glyphosate, and I think that's dangerous too.
Yeah.
But atrazine is I think right around the second most used.
Yeah, I mean, when you're messing up a hormonal system, like that's very foundational infrastructure of like who and how we are and how we feel, how we navigate life, and having that messed up with very real engineered chemicals, that's something. It's been alarming to me since I think the year 2000 when I started studying natural health. It's like, well, these are
dangerous.
These are some gnarly things that we just flippantly consume all the time. We kind of pretend we don't because we wash the lettuce before we eat it, and then we eat it. The chemical ingestion is just gnarly, and I'm so grateful that RFK is in there. And I think a very corrupt sewer system being a light, bringing
hopefully cleaning
change.
up shop a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I don't know how you could do it fast. I'm impressed with what he's done.
Yeah.
I wish it was faster, but I think he's doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
That, undoing things that never should have been done in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, let's talk about that. You kind of gave me a good jumping off point because I wanted to talk about your fitness and you've been a wellness, I would say a bit of a beacon for a little while of like health and fitness and wellness, and also love what you have to say about the comedic skit about biological males in female sports.
Yeah.
That's not something that I've talked about a whole lot, but I completely feel like it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be allowed. There's just a very clear difference. I'm a female athlete, and I've trained with males.
A real female athlete.
Yeah. And I've trained with males, and it's very different, and that's okay. Like I don't need it to be the same. I don't want it to be the same.
Yeah.
But there's just a big difference, and I'm not convinced that any amount of hormone therapy or anything could make a biological male as identical to a biological female.
Yeah.
And that's really where it's at. Like there's no hate, no discrimination. I want you to do that if that makes you happy, I want you to feel good about yourself. I want you to be able to make your own choices. If that's what makes you feel good, then do that. But we cannot all pretend that biological men do not have a physical advantage over women. And that's just the truth of it.
Yeah, and luckily I think we're probably 2 years ago, we reached peak insanity of, for politically correct reasons, you're expected to believe that my imagination is your objective reality. Like that's coddling someone's feelings as though they're a 2-year-old incapable of taking care of themselves emotionally. Yeah. And now it seems to be more the rule than the exception. The rule now, as the pendulum swings the other way, is people are looking at it as common sense of, well, if you're born a man, you've had the male hormones for however long, and you're not a woman. It's okay if you want to pretend you're a woman, live as a woman, but you competing against other women, common sense says no. And when you see it happening in high schools now compared to 2-3 years ago, like the rule is parents are objecting to it. Whereas back even 2 years ago, if a parent objected, now they're
a terrorist.
They're a domestic terrorist, and they're at major risk of being a black sheep.
Yeah.
So to me, there's nothing more hilarious than we went through a phase of pretending like this is not a thing. But Leah Thomas being like the 463rd fastest male swimmer, then overnight says I'm a girl now, and being the fastest female swimmer by a mile. Let's look at that, guys. So yeah, and to me, I would love to compete in women's sports, but I think I would be embarrassed. Like I'd walk in expecting I'm going to win because I'm a man, but I just get my ass kicked.
Well, we could test the theory if you want.
I have too many injuries as it is, so let's just let the theory be, Miesha.
Oh, so good. Okay, well, what are your health and wellness trends? I mean, obviously you're in great physical shape. Have you always been someone who is in good physical shape?
Yeah, as a narcissist, I've always been in the best shape. I'm very impressive to look at.
You were never a fat kid? Were
No,
you ever picked on or bullied? Is that why you were funny too? I know that could be like a safety thing.
You know, never overly bullied. I mean, I think all kids experience bullying to a degree, but never overly bullied. But yeah, I've always been fit. And nowadays I look at like doing hard things. I think it makes me a stronger person. So like hard workouts is my primary way of doing hard things. And it's also the best thing for my mental health, like getting out stress.
I think men really need that.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. If a man isn't activating his warrior, whether that's working out, manual labor, just whatever the activation needs to be, I think a man suffers because of it. But yeah, fitness, it's really always been part of my values. As a kid, I was huge into sports, and I remember back when I was 11, getting my dad's weight set out of my grandparents' attic, taking it to our basement, and that just became an outlet, something like I feel better because I'm bettering myself and I'm working hard, and nobody else is working out at my age. And then, in middle school, like maybe a couple kids are working out, but I'm making sure I work out harder than them. It was just a way to build my self-esteem in a way that it happens to not be destructive.
Right.
So yeah, it's always been part of my thing, and I just love it.
What does your daily fitness routine kind of look like, or throughout the week?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you saw it when you came in, but I've just got a home gym in my garage.
I saw that. Yeah, it was opened up.
And I love it. It's my sanctuary. I don't like going to normal gyms. Like if I'm traveling, I was just in Dallas a couple weekends ago. I walk in there and I text my lady about everything I'm already annoyed at. Just, people's behavior, inconsiderate of space, doing curls in front of the dumbbell rack so nobody else can use any of the dumbbells, can't get to them.
Do you get bothered a lot too, though? When you get recognized a decent amount?
Well, I get recognized. It's, I'm used to navigating it, so it's not really a bother.
Yeah, but if you're like in the middle of a set or something,
if the bar's on my back, like, all right, I'm trying to breathe here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love working out at home because there's no barrier to entry. There's very little excuse room. There's no like, well, I've got to drive 15 minutes to the gym. It's like, no, I've got to walk 15 seconds to the garage. I'm in my own space. I'm in control. My music. I'm not waiting on any equipment, or I've got a couple friends coming over. We're going to push ourselves and be stupid maniacs. Do you do that regularly?
Like you do like a group workout?
Well, as much as usually once a week. I had 2 friends over earlier this morning. So yeah, my typical weekly fitness, roughly 5 days a week, working out with weights. And I change things up. Sometimes it's very like CrossFit phase workouts where you're just doing a lot of stuff, feeling like you're going to die at the end. And then I'll go through more strength phases.
And making fun of your friends as they
absolutely
suffer along with you.
And I love to...
And laughing at your own pain.
My pro tip, I always design the workouts. And when I know a friend's got like a certain weakness, but I excel at that, it's like, we're going to really do that just because I want to win and I'm stupid.
Perks of having your home gym.
Exactly. It's like I've got a background doing professional like exercise stuff, so I'll design it so I can win. So I'm typically functional movement based for the most part. Squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, kettlebells.
Do you do any like knees over toes stuff? You try to work on mobility?
I do about 1% as much as I should. There's a little bit in there, but I should do more, honestly. Especially I've got various injuries, but I just don't find that fun, so I neglect it.
Right.
But I definitely should.
Yeah. What else do you do like ice baths, or what are your wellness trends? What are you into?
Yeah, sleep is my biggest wellness trend.
Oh, amen.
I wish I didn't need 7-8 hours of sleep, but I do. So
that's not bad.
Yeah,
7-8 hours.
And it's not a fancy biohack, but it's like, yep, nothing moves the needle for me like sleep. I've got a cold plunge. It's been broken. Had a guy out to fix it, but typically a cold plunge is part of it. I've got a red light panel behind you, so when I'm working at my computer, I've just got that on. And for the past 6 years, I've been on a testosterone optimization protocol, and as a man, that's been a game changer.
What was the biggest difference?
Yeah, well, two biggest differences. One is self-confidence, and the second is like, well, I gained 20 pounds of muscle, which wasn't the goal, but it's like, well, that just happened. And the longevity doctor I was working with back 6 years ago, he looked at my blood work, and I was surprised when he said, we should put you on testosterone. I'm like, well, isn't that bad? He said, no, it makes you live longer doing the right doses. That's why I was seeing him for longevity.
Do you remember what your testosterone was?
Yeah, it was about 350. And
I feel like that's low.
Yeah, for men in the medical system, 300 to 900 is considered normal. But this doctor's functions for longevity and health, not disease care. And I told him, go on testosterone, but I'm normal. He said, yeah, you're normal. But the normal isn't optimal. The normal is based on a very diseased population. He said, ideally, you're going to be more like 900 to 1,000 is ideal for optimized health, longevity.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, I'll try it. And it's been a game changer to me. And just like a note of balance, more isn't better. Like, you can shorten your lifespan by having your testosterone above optimal ranges. So just a note of responsibility, because I know sometimes young men hear this and like, testosterone, okay, so more is just going to be better. It's like, no, optimal is better. Low has negatives, high has negatives, but optimal. So I love to be transparent with that. Just like that's something I've done. It's worked for me, working with reputable doctors, blood work. So I don't like to hide the fact. I think some men do hide it, but it's like, no, it's helped me. And if other guys are motivated to get their blood work done, work with a reputable provider, optimize if that's needed for them, like, cool. I just like to empower men to know that that's actually a thing.
I was really glad to see recently that estrogen for women is getting back on like availability, because for a long time it was like, oh, it causes breast cancer or it causes cancer for women, but estrogen is such an important hormone for us, and we don't get the same, easy prescription of our primary hormone as men do for testosterone. It's like they'll hand it out for men for candy for all day, but like if we're suffering, it's really tough to get estrogen because it's just considered like a cancer-causing hormone. But it's not true, and it has actually been completely disproven that that's not the case. So I'm really excited to see that that's coming back for women, because it helps us feel good too, like having a proper amount of estrogen. By the way, full disclosure, I don't take estrogen or anything like that, but I know that there are like plenty of women who are like benefiting from having estrogen. And I had Dr. Amy Killen on my show, who's a hormone specialist, and she talked about that. She said literally every adult vagina needs estrogen.
Yeah, that
makes,
and I know mine does.
Well, yours is downstairs, and she seems to be great about to pop. But no, I mean, there's the other side of that. 50% of the population is often underserved in our medical community. Period.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
And if I put on my conspiratorial hat, I do think there's certainly forces that try to shield people from optimizing their hormones. And I would even go so far as to say it appears to me as though there's forces that intentionally try and shield people, prevent them from optimizing their hormones, because then they're in optimal health, and they're a really crappy customer for the medical system if they're in optimal health. So optimizing your hormones where you're at, it's relatively very cheap compared to getting in the cattle feedlot system of, well, you're either going to get heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, whatever it is, then we're going to get a lot of money out of you. So, yeah, I am not a fan of being a slave.
Do people call you a conspiracy theorist? Is that like a...
I call myself one, yeah. I've been right about everything so far. No, there are conspiracy theories that are like, how this is just kind of common sense. But I like to consider myself a free thinker. I don't get on board with conspiracy theories just because they're going against the establishment. Some of them sound insane to me. But certainly COVID, it really taught me, like, all right, if you're called a conspiracy theorist, that means they're trying to shut down your speech. Someone's trying to shut down your speech. There's something to look into here. And the term conspiracy theorist was literally created by the CIA to try to discredit anybody who was questioning the JFK assassination official narrative. So it was literally built with the intention of smearing people's character and credibility. And I don't like that. So...
Well, I think that's a fair statement. Yeah. JP, why don't you check what time it is real quick? Let's make sure where we're staying at. What do we got here?
We're 18 past the hour.
All right. Okay, we've got a little time yet. I can still grill you a little bit more.
Let's get the grill out, sister.
All right. So what else about, I feel like you might have more in the wellness toolbox than just alternative health or any other things that you'd like to share in that category. We talked about red light. You do the cold plunge.
Yeah.
You work out, you like sleep, but do you have sleep hygiene? Do you have a routine, or are you just naturally a good sleeper?
I would say I'm not naturally a good sleeper. Sleep hygiene for me, I have blue light blocking glasses. I'll put on most nights when I remember them, a couple hours before bed. I like to minimize screens a couple hours before bed.
Turn off overhead lights kind of thing, like low lights in the house.
Yeah. And I'm not batting 1,000 on all that. Like, I'll have a screen in my face at times, but blue light blocking glasses to minimize it. But really the day tempo, just kind of moving at a slower pace rather than frantically running around doing tasks, up until bed, but just kind of having some chill transition time for me is a part of sleep hygiene. I love doing saunas. And then, eating good food that's as clean as possible, full of nutrients, good proteins and fats, organic whenever possible.
How much protein do you try to eat a day, or do you know?
I have no idea.
What's your diet look like?
So in the morning, like 5 eggs for breakfast, maybe a banana.
Cooked or raw?
I definitely do cooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know some people out there are like the raw egg train. Not me personally.
I've tried raw eggs before, and for me, I'm just fighting the nauseousness. It's just kind of gross for me.
Yeah.
And then lunch, like ground beef with cheese on it, sweet potato.
Gotta have the cheese.
Yeah. Dinner is more of the same of that, so it's fairly like protein heavy. That's just
fruits
seems to fruits, bananas, things like that. I definitely know going without much in the way of carbs, I don't feel my best. Not a crap load of carbs, but I do find I need to have some. And I find eating frequency matters to me. If I go 6 hours without eating, I'm realizing, my energy's kind of in the hole right now.
No fasting for you?
Not during the day. Intermittent fasting, where usually it turns out without even trying, I'm intermittent fasting for about 16 hours, just from dinner to my first meal of the day. So whatever the benefits of that are, I don't know much. I don't even do it on purpose. That's just kind of my natural eating rhythm. And then for me, a huge health hack that's not talked about nearly enough is connection and time with loved ones, friends, family. You look at like all these, like, what do they call them, centenarians, like the blue zone people that live a long time. Yeah, like, it's cool. Like, you look at their diet, Mediterranean diet, there's some info there, but across the world, they find the biggest common denominator of the people that live the longest is they have a lot of connection with friends, loved ones. And I know that adds so much instant quality to my life. And I do believe it's like health-wise beneficial in ways that maybe can't even be measured. But to me, that I would classify that as a health practice.
I think so too. I mean, that's so important for people, as you mentioned. It's like a life coach. Do you find that that is advice that you ever were giving to people of like, hey, try to get connected with people that matter?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, and a lot of people, even nowadays, I hear is like, I can't find people. Like, you know, a lot of the old friends, like, yeah, they're maybe drinking, doing stuff that you don't want to do anymore. And I can empathize with like the pain of like, it feels like I don't have a tribe that resonates with my values and my vision of life now. But you got to go find your tribe, and you got to start by thinking like, well, where do those kind of people hang out? Probably not a bar, maybe a gym, and maybe not even a normal commercial gym. Maybe it's more of a specialized gym. But we all need a tribe.
Yeah. You know, I just joined True Fusion like about a week and a half ago.
What is that?
True Fusion is out of Vegas. Maybe they've not expanded here, but it's like yoga. They've got Pilates. They've got kettlebell. They've got some, you know, circuit type workouts. But it's kind of like it's a more Zen type gym.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to go in there and find a barbell rack.
Yeah.
Or you're not doing heavy squats. It's all kind of like mobility, cycling. You know, stationary cycling. Those kinds of things. And God, I haven't done that kind of thing in a really long time. But to what you were saying, I'm not going there looking for community. I don't really talk to much people, but it's a time that serves me.
Yeah.
It's a time that serves me, and there's very little required of me otherwise. I could just go there and kind of like zone out. And I mean, is that also something that you recommend? Because I think sometimes people forget to serve themselves at all.
Yeah.
Forget about themselves.
Yeah, there's kind of a paradox with this. From a man's perspective, my point of view is my job is to serve what's best for my family. But you could take that and just extrapolate incorrectly and say, well, that means you're never doing anything for yourself. It's like, no, doing some things for myself serves my family so well. Like if I'm not working out for a stretch, my mood is lower, my self-esteem is lower, I have less physical energy, and therefore I'm showing up for my family not nearly as well. Not in as good of a mood, not just more pessimistic. So I find for me, like, cool, getting time to work out, yes, that's for me, and that serves my family very well. But then also, like, you could get really selfish and just, well, that means I need to do these 9 hours of things for myself every day because I show up better for my family. It's like, well, maybe at a point you're just kind of being selfish. So long story short, I 100% believe we do need to do things for ourselves so that we can show up best for the people that matter most to us. And so we can just be at our best because we do deserve that.
Yeah. What would your advice be to someone who is looking to make some kind of change in their life for their health and for their mental health? And I'm a strong believer that the body follows the mind. Yeah. And vice versa.
I think two things. One is find a tribe. Maybe it's online, maybe it's in person, but find a tribe that represents where you want to go. Become a part of that tribe. Even if it's like you're in this Facebook group, or else like we'll just fall to our like level of existing tribe. So we're tribal beings. We need to find a tribe. So find the tribe, and then next piece of advice would be is assess where you're at and then figure out what's one or two steps beyond where you're at and then do that. To me, there's a mistake of like, cool, here's where I'm at. Maybe there's no exercise in my life and I think there should be. But if you're looking at 10 steps ahead of that and like trying to implement that right away, one, it probably won't be good for you. And two, the likelihood of successfully achieving it is very low. So having micro wins of, cool, where am I at? I'm at 0. So a step ahead of that is, cool, I take 2 15-minute walks a day. And when you're doing that, it's a nice micro win. And then what's the next step beyond that? So not only are you set up for success, but also like you're probably acclimating in a healthier way.
Yeah. And don't wait. That's my. I'll go right on to that too.
Immediate action.
Yeah, immediate action. We're coming up on the New Year's resolution time for everybody. You know, everybody's going to wait to start their fitness goals until January 1st. Like, no. So like, I did the unorthodox thing. I went in and joined the gym about a week before Thanksgiving. And I just think that's probably like a very, not many people are looking to do that. And I literally went and did yoga the morning of Thanksgiving. And I loved it. And I was like, this is the time. Right now is the time. Now I've been searching for something that's kind of gonna fill that bucket for me of like needing to physically move my body, but also needing time and space in like a healing way, if that makes sense. Because I've just been so hard on my body for so long, and so about, the grind of going to the gym and just being, tough and like pushing through everything. And I kind of want to just start lending some shift in that energy as, my career kind of is in that transitionary time in my life. I'm a mom. I want to, just focus my energy in other ways. And I want to explore the things that are fulfilling to me moving forward, because the things that fulfilled me before have changed, and they don't have the same fulfillment that they used to provide for me. And that's growth, I think.
I would agree. I can so relate to that. Which, by the way, that willingness to change, I think it's even changing something that has served you very well, but realizing you're in a new phase of life for whatever reason, allowing yourself to change is such an admirable quality. One particular way I relate to that, I've been touring doing stand-up comedy for 8 years. And about a year ago, I started realizing this doesn't serve me anymore. Like, I'm away from my family, what matters most to me, for 4 days at a time. I come back exhausted. My energy takes 2 or 3 days to recover. And then I go out and do it again in a week and a half. And so I just realized, after this year, I'm done touring, doing stand-up comedy, which is weirdly scary. It's like, this has served me so well, and it's so fun and amazing. But just looking at where I'm at in life, what matters most to me, I realize, like, it's a transition I need to make.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like constantly putting things on the weigh scale, and things that matter so much and carried so much weight and value at one point in your life may not serve you the same moving forward. Yeah,
it's all seasons. Like what the farmer needs to do to the soil in the fall is one thing, but if he does the same things to the soil in the spring, like, that can just be the opposite of what's needed.
Okay, I gotta ask you a little bit about your content before I let you go. What is your creative process in all of that? Like, how are you even coming up with the ideas that you do? And has there ever been anything that either went totally wrong in what you posted, like not the reaction that you wanted, or was there anything that really just like took off in a way that you were like, God, I didn't know that this piece was going to be so incredible?
Yes to all that. Like, first, my creative process, ideas for what to do content on, like what are the comedy sketches, it always follows emotion. Carl Jung said feelings are the language of the soul. So I think I need to have emotional movement about something, and it can be, this brings me unspeakable amusement, or this really pisses me off. Anything in between, but there's got to be an emotional sensation to it. And then from there, once I have ideas, and I'll just note them on my phone, just like one line, like, oh, this topic. Like, I'll be filming a video this afternoon on a guy applying to become MK Ultra. He just like really wants to be MK Ultra. Just an idea, like, and that one's out of both amusement and like cool.
What is MK Ultra?
MK Ultra, it's a CIA mind control program.
Okay.
Some debate about if it's still active, but it was provably active in, I think, the 1960s. So, like when
yeah, what do you know about this?
Some would speculate when you see someone like Britney Spears nowadays dancing with knives, looking all weird. That's because her mind is shot because she was mind controlled from an early age. That's speculation. I can't prove that. I don't even know if I think that, but I consider like, well, maybe. So anyway, that's like a video. It amuses me, and it also pisses me off that there's mind control programs out there. So once I have the idea, that my creative process is I'll just sit down and write the script.
Yeah. Then
walk away and then go back and like, cool, do I want to change things? Do I want to tighten this up?
And are you talking about like a mind control? I'm so sorry. This is so interesting to me. Are you talking about like a mind control thing, more of like somebody who understands how the mind works, and so they'll like convince you or talk you into things and they kind of control it in that way? Or are you talking about like a device that's like, got your mind?
The first one,
okay,
where it's essentially hypnotic techniques used.
That's a very real thing.
Yeah, Sean Ryan. Do you know who he had a fascinating podcast I listened to a week ago. I believe the guy's name is Chris Hughes. He's a hypnotist. And
might have been on Rogan's too.
He was.
I listened to that one.
It was phenomenal.
Yes.
So you hear this guy talks, well, here's how you do it.
Yeah.
And he does ethical hypnosis himself, but because he's an expert, also understands how you can use it unethically, whether that's to potentially like get some nut job to assassinate some kind of figure.
Right.
I mean, do all kinds of speculation. But yeah,
okay.
I'm going to make that into a comedy, Miesha.
I love it.
So I'll sit down, write this script, and usually that's all in one sitting, but I'll go over it another time or two. And to your follow-up questions on that, there's one particular instance where things went horribly wrong. And there's been a lot of surprises of like, wow, that really took off. But the one that went horribly wrong, I think it was 2017. I was in Costa Rica. Is down there. My ex-wife, when we met, she was living there. So I was spending some time there. And man, I was just pissed off at the lack of first world conveniences. Roads are rough. It's hard to get around anywhere. You can't buy good food anywhere. So I just made a video. What I thought was like parodying Costa Rica, like making fun of it. And then the next day, I realized something was wrong because I was just walking to a coffee shop down the road and I had people on the street yelling at me. I'm like, wow, what is this about? And then I found out like that video went really viral in Costa Rica for all the wrong reasons. Tourism is like their biggest revenue generator, and they felt very threatened by the video because they thought it made Costa Rica look bad, and they were discussing the video in their National Congress Assembly. It was all over the news. I'd get harassed on the streets anytime I go out. So that one went horribly wrong. And I can see at the...
Are you 86 from Costa Rica now?
No, not entirely. But that's the only time I released an apology video. I'd never bow down to cancel culture, apologizing for things I actually believe. But I could see, like, I was off the mark. I had a lot of misdirected anger because I was down there and just didn't like certain things. So I could see there's a lot of misdirected anger, and it's one thing for a first world, well-off American to come down, and then he bitches about like the inconveniences of a poor country. I can see like, I was kind of an asshole on that, and I'm sorry for that. But then, so many videos have like surprised me when they take off. Like there was one, made this about 10 years ago, called If Meat Eaters Acted Like Vegans.
Yeah, I saw that one. That's one of the first ones I saw of you.
Yeah, so that one
Hilarious.
Shocked me. Like, on Facebook, I think 250 million views, and it was just like, wow, I guess people want to watch that. And then, so many other ones along the way have been very pleasant surprises. And then there's videos where I'm like, this is going to be really big. And it's not.
Doesn't.
So Yeah, I definitely can't predict what's gonna like go
The
really big
algorithm's
or
a
not.
mystery.
Yeah, and human nature is a mystery too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because are you mostly doing the We Lied to You news now, or are you doing the other skits in there too?
Oh,
Like the old
other
school
skits too. The We Lie to You news. It's like a regular segment I do. Typically every week I do one of those, but then also other sketches and comedy video scenarios.
Okay, so I have to tell the story now. It's so funny. I was watching that, and you violently throw the papers everywhere, and I was wondering, I was like, God, what does that look like? Like, as you go to pick those all up. I don't know why I just had this funny thought, and then we're coming up here, and there's just papers everywhere around the desk.
Hundreds of pieces of paper.
Like clearly you don't pick them up.
It's been a couple months since I've cleaned them up.
I just wondered. It's so funny that I had that thought of like, God, he really throws those things everywhere. That must be quite a. I wonder who picks those up or what that looks like, And then here in your lovely house, beautiful house, by the way, and beautiful wife. But that was funny. There's still a lot of papers on the floor.
Yeah, and I kind of, to me, I kind of like the way it looks. It's kind of like, this is creativity.
No, I love it. I am absolutely not bagging on you, even though it's hilarious. I'm like, I love it. This is so real, and it's like just a real piece. It's like I probably, honestly, let's be honest, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would not pick them up every single time. I'd be like, nope, this is like a once a month thing and we'll just get it all done. Why, you know how much more time you would spend if you pick them up every single time as opposed to if you just pick the ones that were on top of the other ones
That's
up
true.
one time a month?
That's true.
You're thinking how much time you're saving.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's logical.
It's kind of like, it's like this splatter of creativity. I feel good at, it's kind of like if you were in the octagon and just really screwed up an opponent and her blood is all over the canvas.
Yeah, I'm never gonna wash the gear.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Never.
It's
actually
the same thing as that.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not.
This has been wonderful. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I appreciate the time. I appreciate you, opening your home to me. Thank you so much, JP. You're fun to chat with. You're a cool guy. I'm excited to. Well, I think we'll see you shortly at the Apogee event, the VIP dinner. So we'll see you there. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me on, Miesha, and I'm honored.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fun time, and it's to be continued.